keratin, and they act like glue, and they hold each layer together. When we get a blister, we experience the separation of these layers and the process in between two layers of skin. Someone with EB gets blisters very easily because their skin is kind of sliding back and forth along each other. The slightest thing, a tag on the back of a shirt, can tear their skin open. Babies as they're being born, being pushed through the birth canal, their skin is being torn off. The skin shears off so easily. It is not contagious. It is so important for people to know that, because a lot of people look at it and say, "Oh my gosh, look at those open wounds. I'm going to catch something from this person." That is so not true. It is so important to know that Epidermolysy Bullosa, or EB, is not contagious. It's a genetic disorder, and it doesn't only affect the skin. It affects all the mucous membranes, and people with EB get severe eye abrasions, and they get blisters on their eyes, scratches on their eyes, and it's supposedly the most painful part of EB, according to several people I've talked to. They have to sit in the dark for a few days. Our last speaker tonight, Vanessa, just got through an eye abrasion, and I was really worried that she might not be able to be on if she couldn't look at her computer.
Right.
Hopefully she's doing a lot better now. It also affects internal organs. So it's not just the skin. It affects everything they do. Jamie, for instance, her esophagus on a good day was about the size of a pea. On an average day, it was the size of like a ballpoint pen. The tip of a ballpoint pen. There's so many issues. A lot of people with EB, they end up having kidney problems because their whole life, all their nutrition is going straight to trying to heal these wounds that never really heal. It's doctors who have seen it will be the first to say it is the single most horrible thing they've seen. And yet, even though that's the case, every single person I've become friends with who has EB are the most positive, just amazing people. And that's, when I first got into wanting to do something for EB and become an EB advocate, and, I just really got sucked into it by the people. And they are the most fun-loving people. And Jamie especially, So,
yeah, looking through the pictures that you guys were putting on the Facebook invite, or event actually, she was very positive, very active. I do believe I saw a drummer. It looked like her. Was she a drummer?
Well, no, that wasn't her that you saw in those pictures. That's our friend Miguel.
Okay.
Who's down in San Diego, and also, or it might have been Mark, who's also in Southern California. That was in 2009. That was a fun time. That was our talent show. And yes, you saw two drummers. There's another friend. I didn't have a picture of him on drums, who also plays drums, and he has EB. His name is Matt. And I didn't have a picture of him on drums, though, so I couldn't put it up on the Facebook event page. But, yeah, speaking of drums, though, Jamie was also a drummer. And, it's funny, that's how she got into music. Jamie, in the 5th grade, started drumming. And she got so good, she also played the xylophone. She was in the big percussion in her high school. They had like a percussion group or something, and she was in that. And that lasted until about 11th grade. And what happens with people with EB, a lot of people with EB, their fingers, because of all the blistering over the years and the scar tissue that develops, their fingers contract into kind of like a fist. And the skin is grown over their fingers. And a lot of times they have had surgery, possibly to release their thumbs so that they have something to grab onto. Every single EB patient is different, but this is something that's fairly common amongst people with EB. So when she got to a point where she couldn't really use her hands anymore to be a drummer or a percussionist or play xylophone, she had already been singing most of her life, and through her church and in school she was interested in singing. She just dove right into it. And her mom was just telling me the other day it was in 11th grade that she started taking voice lessons.
Yeah, she's a phenomenal singer. I mean, she's a soprano, and she gets the high notes where I could never get those high notes when I was in choir.
I am totally amazed. Everybody's amazed by Jamie's voice. I mean, even for a healthy person to sing like Jamie it's remarkable. It's not your everyday singing,
Right.
And the fact that her esophagus was, like I said before, on a good day, the size of a pea. The opening, the fact that she could bring in and out of all that air into her diaphragm and belt out those songs, absolutely incredible. I know I would sit next to her at times, and she'd be just singing, and you could just feel the force coming. And I know all my Star Wars friends are going to laugh at me for saying feel the force, but you could literally feel the music hitting you in your face. That's how powerful Jamie was. And something to really point out about Jamie and a lot of people with EB, there's so much blistering that goes on in their mouth. And Jamie's tongue was fused to the bottom of her mouth. So the fact that she could enunciate, I mean, I'm going to talk right now with my tongue without moving my tongue, and I can't talk. It is incredible how well she trained herself to be able to sing like that. And, her faith was extremely, extremely strong. And she wrote it off as these were little miracles that were given to her in exchange for her suffering. and I don't doubt it for a second, because just knowing Jamie and interacting with Jamie and seeing the things that she was able to accomplish in life, and it was like she was almost like she was making a deal with God, saying, okay, I'm going to do this, and you're going to allow me, and and I'm going to obey these rules here, and she was absolutely amazing. She lived by her own rules, by the way. She had her scriptures that she lived by, and then she even made it tougher on herself, saying, okay, well, if that's the rule, I'm going to take it a step further. Jamie was absolutely remarkable, and I wish I could just live 1/10 of the goodness that she was able to live. If I could do that, I'd be a much better person than I am now. That's for sure.
I think you're a pretty awesome person right now. So how long have you known Jamie?
Let's see. We kind of met online in 2006, and we got really close towards the end of 2000. I believe it was 2007. Or it was 2006. I'm forgetting the exact year now. And we met through a mutual friend. Her name was Christina. And they were very close friends through the camp system, which we're going to be talking about later. And they were very close. And Christina and I ran a website called, it was a social network just for people with EB, called EB Friends. And Christina and I built that and ran it with a few other friends, and she wanted Jamie to be moderator. And Jamie joined us, and Jamie and I just became instant good friends.
Good.
And yeah, and then in 2011, I actually moved to Utah, and I had met Jamie. She had come to New York a couple times. I had met Jamie before. I moved to Utah for a little while, and I was able to hang out with her and Taylor, her husband, and I met her mom and dad and other members of her family, and it's just been such a great friendship, and it really, really shaped who I am in my adult years. Absolutely great inspiration.
Well, that's good. And I know you've been talking a lot about where she has touched the world, but what did she do to touch you in a way that no one else in her family, her friends, or anybody else? What did she touch in you?
Oh my gosh. Being involved with the EB community had already changed my life in many, many ways.
How so?
I wasn't living the cleanest life. I mean, I wasn't an awful person, but I'm an old bedhead. I like my parties, and I was not really thinking about consequences and this and that. And after I got in the EB community, I pretty much cleaned up my life, and meeting Jamie showed me a whole deeper spiritual something that I always had inside me, but she pulled it out. And for the listeners there, I just want to say there will be some mention of spiritualism and her religion, just because that's who Jamie was. I need to point out, though, that Jamie never, ever pushed her religion on anybody. People would ask her, and she would convert people because of her actions, because of her beauty and who she was. People would want to know what drives you, and through that's what happened to me. She really, really changed my life for the better, and I have a much deeper connection with my spiritual side, and I have daily conversations with God, and if it wasn't for Jamie, I wouldn't have known that I can do that. But like I said, that's not what this show's about, so I don't want anybody getting turned off who's not into that. And know that Jamie never, ever pushed that issue. If you asked her, she was all open for it. But if you didn't, it was through her actions that people were moved. But yeah, that's probably the single most important thing that's happened to me through knowing Jamie.
Cool. All right, I'm glad to know it. So, I'm going to take a little smaller break. I'll be right back, and we'll hear more about Jamie, her music, and we'll talk to some from her family members next. So, don't go away. Be right back.
Let's Talk About the Music is wanting your sponsorship to advertise on the show's podcast. Anyone, anywhere in the world can advertise. We're especially looking for small businesses, event and festival coordinators, and venues. For pricing and special offers, go to letstalkaboutthemusicblog.wordpress.com.
Live in studio on April 26, 2016. We're going local, everybody. Seattle's very own Johnny Sonic. That's right, guys. Johnny Sonic's going to be on the air with me, your host. We're going to talk about politics, music, and his charity's coming up right here. Let's talk about the music on April 26th. Don't want to miss it. Seattle's very own Johnny Sonic.
Join us April 13th on Let's Talk About the